Tonight on the NTV Evening News Hour. There's a deal. The province agrees to outside buyers for all species after a turbulent week of fisheries protests.
This is a deal that I see as being the best deal.
Business leaders react to the provincial budget.
We were pleased to see that there are a number of initiatives this year.
And in international news, Catherine, the Princess of Wales, is diagnosed with cancer.
The surgery was successful. However, tests after the operation found cancer had been present.
Radar indicates we are seeing areas of snow over western Newfoundland, some flurries in the east. We'll talk about when this winds down, what your weekend looks like and beyond, coming up shortly on tonight's NTV Evening News Hour.
The award-winning NTV Evening News Hour with Tony Marie Wiseman, Michael Connors, and Chief Meteorologist Eddie Shear.
Good evening. A turbulent week of protests on Confederation Hill came to an end today, with fish harvesters announcing they have a deal.
The province will allow outside buyers for all species, and there will be a new committee to oversee the plan. NTV's Bailey Howard has been following the protests all week and has tonight's top news story.
It is about time. We got it done. We got it done.
There were cheers, tears, and even cartwheels as protest organizer John Efford stood in the back of a pickup truck and announced the details of a new deal.
This is a deal that I see as being the best deal.
Today is the biggest change in Newfoundland in my lifetime. Get back our fishery. It's ours. Let us run it.
This morning, FFAW leaders met with officials in the Department of Fisheries on the condition that harvesters stand down from their protests at the Confederation building. Harvesters still gathered in a nearby parking lot, and police officers stayed at the entrances, both waiting to see what came of the meeting. It was a tense 4 hours for the hundreds of harvesters as they waited for answers.
As of this morning, there was no future in the fishery, and we were all done for. 4 or 5 years at the best, we would have left with nothing. Today, this changes everything. Get back our fishery, free enterprise.
The deal includes unlimited access for outside buyers.
All species!
There will also be a new committee to advise on the changes.
And I made sure that I am going to be on that committee.
The FFAW and Association of Seafood Producers will also sit on the committee. Efford says he will be on the committee in a fully volunteer capacity.
Someone got to keep them honest. And if I'm not getting paid, I got no skin in the game other than everybody, all the people here.
Efford says they also have a commitment on processing caps.
The commitment on just taking the roof off caps has its disadvantages.
He says the committee will help to control the changes.
To make sure it doesn't come under corporate control.
Efford also says the government promised an in-depth review of corporate concentration in the fishery. The details will come in writing in 5 days. So what's next for organizer John Efford?
All I want to do is go fishing. That's why I'm here.
In a statement on Thursday afternoon, the Association of Seafood Producers shared concerns that lifting caps will cause job losses for the 5,000 people employed in fish plants. But FFAW President Greg Pretty says that's not the case.
This is about restoring balance to harvesters. And by the way, you can't have a healthy plant worker unless you have healthy fishermen. And what we saw last year in the collapse of the market, we lost $500 million in this province.
Pretty says they need to get started on this season as quickly as they can. But first, they need to set a price. Negotiations halted yesterday between the FFAW and ASP. The FFAW and the Association of Seafood Producers now have until 4:00 p.m. on Wednesday to submit their final offers. On Thursday, they'll present those offers to the committee, who will choose the price and the formula for this year. Bailey Howard, NTV News.
And Fisheries Minister Elvis Lovelace issued a statement late today. He says the meeting led to positive outcomes that will move the fishing industry forward for the benefit of all Newfoundlanders and Labradorians, especially those in rural communities.
The St. John's Board of Trade welcomed Finance Minister Siobhan Cody for a post-budget luncheon this afternoon. NTV's Becky Daly was there and has reaction from business leaders.
The choice of how this province goes in the years ahead rests with us.
The province's finance minister addressed the business community today, her first appearance since delivering Budget 2024. Just after tabling the budget on Thursday, the Board of Trade said it was pleased with the promise of stimulating economic growth.
We were pleased to see that there are a number of initiatives this year which really do, highlight the support that is needed for business and recognition that it can be challenging to run a business, in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. And I think government, through the measures that were announced yesterday and some of the support programs that are going to be launched, I think there's real recognition and support for the business community.
The Board of Trade says this budget enhances competitiveness, supporting businesses through investments in red tape reduction, and promising no new taxes, tax increases, or fee increases.
Well, over the last number of years, we've been putting a focus on competitiveness. I've introduced a number of tax credits, for example, the manufacturing tax credit, the film and development tax credit. So we've introduced a lot of those. Last year, we raised the threshold on the health and post-secondary education tax that really gives businesses an opportunity. Then it goes to $2 million before they start paying that tax. That was a good savings for business. This year we lowered the small business tax rate, and by doing so, it makes Newfoundland and Labrador a very competitive and good place to do business.
As reported by NTV's legislative reporter Ben Cleary, the province has a record high $10.3 billion in revenue, but it's offset by $10.4 billion in spending. Again, no new taxes, tax or fee increases.
In 3 short years, bringing our deficit from $1.5 billion, down to where it is today, $152 million deficit, I think is very positive. Shows the government is being responsible.
The Board of Trade has the largest membership-based organization in the province and supports and advocates for many businesses and organizations across the province. Becky Daly, NTV News.
Finance Minister Siobhan Coady says Budget 2024 is an investment in Newfoundland and Labradorians. The minister was in our studio today to answer questions on our $10 billion document. NTV's Ben Cleary has more in this report.
Budget 2024 was one for the record books, with the province reporting a historic $10.3 billion in revenue, matched by $10.4 billion in spending, the most ever. And with a ballooned $433 million deficit for this fiscal year, Finance Minister Siobhan Coady says the province is moving towards balance.
We're going to be in 24-25, $152 million in deficit. That's about 1.5% of revenue. So not, it's pretty much, close to being balanced. But from then on, for the foreseeable fiscal framework, we will be in balance. So I think that's important. We're going to be 1 year ahead of schedule. I think that's a very positive thing.
Siobhan Coady came to NTV studios today for a taping of Issues and Answers. She says it's not just the deficit the province is working on. The government holds almost $18 billion in debt. Coady says to help pay down that number, the province has contributed $74 million to the Future Fund.
Our future fund, if you look over the entire forecast, the 5 years in the budgetary documents, will be, just in contributions, about $1.7 billion in the next 5 years. That's just in contributions, not in interest. So that'll help pay down some debt as well. And as I said, as we move back to balanced, in our deficit situation, we'll be able to start picking away and bringing down that debt.
And as the Liberals enter the 4th year of their mandate, rumors continue to swirl of an upcoming provincial election. Despite the province spending more money than it ever has, the finance minister says every budget is an election budget.
Every budget is an election budget in that it's focused on the people of the province. I will say that I know we're in our 4th year of our mandate. We're not. I don't see anything on the horizon. We're right in the middle of a by-election at the present time, so it wasn't specifically towards an election.
And when an election does get called, Coady says she has full intentions to run again. Ben Cleary, NTV News.
Community leaders on the West Coast say the provincial budget does hold some encouraging spending, but there's concern that it won't address the immediate needs of residents. NTV's Don Bradshaw has that story.
A budget that helps make life more affordable for Newfoundlanders and Labradorians.
Finance Minister Siobhan Cody's provincial budget is drawing mixed reviews today among community leaders in Western Newfoundland, with a promise of record spending spurred on by government revenue at an all-time high.
We found the provincial government's budget by and large to be fairly measured.
The Corner Brook Board of Trade's Keith Golding welcomes government's pledge to reduce the tax rate for small businesses and its commitment to shore up the province's workforce.
Reducing the taxes, reducing the administrative burden on small businesses, making government access a little easier, and reducing some of that red tape is going to be critical.
The province will spend $36 million to build 100 new homes in Corner Brook, Labrador West and central Newfoundland, with more cash set aside to assist tenants with rental subsidies.
We are allocating over $21 million to support individuals and families with rental assistance.
To be honest, I don't think there was anything really exciting that came out, particularly in regards to housing.
Jade Kearley of Corner Brook's Community Coalition on Housing and Homelessness says while any injection of cash to address the province's housing crisis is welcome, she fears government's efforts will do little to address immediate needs.
It is wonderful to see that there will be future projects and renovations and housing, new housing. We need that. But right now, we do not have enough affordable places for people to live. And so we're seeing an increased number of homelessness. We're seeing an increased number of individuals that are at risk of becoming homeless because the cost of living is high and they're just not making ends meet. So it's great in the long term, but short term, it's not meeting what we need.
With a projected deficit of $152 million, this year's budget will push the province's net debt to $17.8 billion, a figure Golding believes could get out of hand if not better controlled.
Right now, servicing that debt is probably one of the larger items in the budget. So that needs to be addressed, and we need to work on keeping that debt down and reducing our debt so that we as a province can focus on investment in our future as opposed to investing in paying off our debt and paying our past.
The business community will learn more about details in the provincial budget when Finance Minister Siobhan Cody addresses a Board of Trade luncheon here on Tuesday. For NTV News, Don Bradshaw, Corner Brook.
Commodities end the week on a negative note. The TSX fell 103 points to 21,984. The Venture Exchange down by 1 to 552. The Dow dropped 305, down to 39,476. The Nasdaq was up 27 points, closing at 16,429. Gold down $17.19 to $2,164.14 U.S. an ounce. Brent crude oil down 23 cents to $85.55 U.S. per barrel. The Canadian dollar down 0.43 to 73.47 cents U.S. Fortis shares up 21 cents a share to $53.82. Labrador iron ore down 32 cents to $29.26, and Altius Minerals down by 18 cents, closing at $20.54.
Tonight's weather, brought to you by GMC's Truck Month. Get 0% financing up to 60 months on select 2024 GMC Sierra trucks.
Well, kind of a quiet weather day heading into the weekend.
Yeah, kind of a quiet weather day here in the capital city. But I guess it didn't really feel much like spring in Labrador today, Eddie, did it?
No, Labrador and on top of that, Western Newfoundland. Both areas currently kind of in the throes of very wintry weather. And as we take a look at these two webcams, the first on my right, I suppose is going to be your left if you're watching at home. Someone's making fun of me out there for this one. Looking at generally sun and cloud across the metro, a few flurries here and there, but overall not a whole lot going on. But then you look at Corner Brook, and it looks like a full-fledged winter storm right now. Camera's shaking a little bit, trees are blowing in the wind. You can see there Maple Valley Road looks like it's in decent shape for the time being, but I do suspect as night falls, roads across much of Western Newfoundland, they're going to go downhill in a hurry. And in Corner Brook right now, temperature is currently at -4. And the interesting thing about this, now if you recall last night, I showed you how the ice in the Gulf of St. Lawrence is basically non-existent right now. And so typically I think this time of year, with onshore winds, we wouldn't be seeing snow this intense. But without the ice, we've got the fuel of the Gulf to drive the onshore snow squalls. And it'll be interesting to see how this kind of continues as we go into spring, because we're not really waiting for the ice to go in the Gulf. It's not really there kind of as we speak. Temperature-wise out there right now, 0 St. John's, 0 Terra Nova, and Gander, Twillingate also right at 0. Bonavista, Vista, you are at 1. -1 across much of the Burin Peninsula, and as we go to the west coast, -1 Deer Lake, but where it's snowing quite heavily, it's much colder. -4 in Corner Brook and Stephenville and Port aux Basques, and Rocky Harbor all currently sitting at -3. Now the radar imagery showing we've got areas of flurries across eastern Newfoundland and some more intense snow across the west coast. But on the Avalon, on the northern side of Placentia Bay, southern side of Trinity Bay, and parts of the southern part of the Bonavista Peninsula out towards Random Island just east of Clarenville, we are seeing some areas of light snow, and this is all kind of working its way from southwest to northeast. So some of us may get an hour or two of some light snow overnight or this evening on the Avalon, and that really will about do it. We're also likely seeing some flurries on the Burin Peninsula as well, although radar does not do a great job picking them up. Now on the west coast, it's a much different story. We're seeing this area of snow working its way onshore. Some of it is rather intense from near Parsons Pond down through areas like Rocky Harbor, Norris Point, Woody Point, down through Corner Brook, out to the Bay of Islands, down to Stephenville, into the Port-au-Port Peninsula, and around the Bay St. George area. And some of the snow that's flying right now is quite intense, and it will linger into the evening before it does wind down, or at least lighten up late tonight or early tomorrow morning. And snowfall in some areas, mainly in the higher elevations, is going to be kind of on the substantial side, 20-30 centimeters. In Labrador, we're also watching an area of low pressure driving intense snowfall as well on the north coast and back to Goose Bay and Churchill Falls. And while there is no radar in Labrador, we can look at basically a simulated satellite radar shot. So this is computer generated, but it gives you an idea of where the snow should be flying in Labrador. So right now it looks like Nain, you're seeing some decent snowfall rates. Happy Valley, Goose Bay seeing some snowfall. The Churchill Valley back to Labrador City seeing some of that snowfall, but it becomes a lot less stratiform the farther west you go. And it's doing a pretty good job showing the snow right now over the west coast. This will continue for parts of Labrador as we go into the overnight, as will the snow across western Newfoundland. Here's future radar taking us through the next 12 hours. And as you can see there, the snow on the west coast is ongoing overnight, and it will be most intense in the high terrain. Not quite as intense in the lower elevations right on the Gulf of St. Lawrence. And notice as we go into the early morning hours of tomorrow, the snowfall becomes less widespread across western Newfoundland. That will be a trend that continues throughout the day tomorrow. And in Labrador on the coast, back to Goose Bay, the snow should get less intense and much less widespread overnight and primarily kind of shift into the higher terrain. But snowfall in some areas, by the time we're all said and done in Labrador, going to be in excess of 30 centimeters. So for tonight, across most of Newfoundland, we're looking at generally quiet conditions, minus the snow on the west coast and the flurries in the east. -1 to -3. Snow persisting in Labrador overnight. Goose Bay points east, but again, kind of winding down after midnight for the day tomorrow. Some flurries on the southeast quadrant of Labrador's coast. As we go north and west into the Big Land, temperatures generally -4 to -10 for highs. On the island, near 0 for a lot of us tomorrow, a tad below on the west coast, where the flurries will persist, especially in the high terrain through the morning, becoming a little bit less widespread into the afternoon. Then we look ahead to Sunday, feeling downright spring-like across most of Newfoundland, but with that will come some unsettled weather. We'll talk more about that coming up on the evening news hour in just a couple of minutes in my next forecast. But what about spring? Spring just arrived a couple of days ago. What does it look like? Well, the official forecast for spring for April, May, and June came out from Environment and Climate Change Canada. Actually, this was at the end of February. And what you're looking at here are the odds of seeing above normal temperatures across the region for the month. And it looks like between those 3 months, we're looking at more than 70% chance of seeing temperatures above normal. So there's a good chance it might be a warmer than normal spring, but that doesn't mean it's not going to snow, and it does not mean we're not going to have cold shots either. We'll talk about your 5-day forecast in more detail shortly on the evening news hour. Beth and Mike, back to you.
Thanks so much, Eddie. Well, preparations are being made for the first-degree murder trial of Kurt Keeping in Grand Falls, Windsor in a couple of weeks. NTV's Colleen Lewis has the details.
Kirk Keeping has been charged and accused of the murder of his ex-girlfriend Chantel John and the attempted murder of her mother in Conn River. This was more than 5 years ago. After a number of delays and appeals, jury selection is now slated for April 8th, and the trial is expected to begin a day later. The proceedings are expected to take from 4 to 6 weeks, and approximately 32 witnesses are being called to testify. This is the third time preparations were made to begin the trial, but Kirk Keeping had made an application to have the counsel of his choice paid for with public money. He was denied and went on to appeal the decision in the Supreme Court, where that appeal was dismissed. In the upcoming trial, he is expected to be represented by lawyer Mark Gruchy. The community of Conn River has been waiting for their day in court, stating that delays have stopped the community from being able to heal or to have closure. Only one day has been set aside for jury selection, with the trial scheduled to begin immediately following. For NTV News, I'm Colleen Lewis in Grand Falls, Windsor.
Traffic was disrupted early this morning following a two-vehicle collision in the east end of St. John's. Emergency crews responded to the intersection of Logie Bay Road and Newfoundland Drive around 9 o'clock this morning. A truck involved in the collision was resting on a snowbank on a lawn when first responders arrived. One person was assessed by paramedics at the scene, but there didn't appear to be any serious injuries. The investigation into the cause of the collision is ongoing.
The RNC and RCMP in St. John's partnered with Memorial University's School of Pharmacy today to hold a community pill drop. Tens of thousands of medication tablets and packages were collected by pharmacy students at RNC headquarters in St. John's. March is Pharmacy Appreciation Month, and the pill drop was held to raise awareness about the importance of disposing of medications safely. Students say medication should never be thrown in the garbage. It should also never be flushed down the toilet, as it could harm the environment.
There's medications, some that are like hormone medications, so we don't want to just flush them down the toilet because it can get in our water system and it could probably affect something like Aqualife or something like that. So we don't want to harm the environment like that.
I mean, this partnership's a no-brainer. It's a public safety effort, and both police services here, the RNC and RCMP, when we were reached out and contacted by the School of Pharmacy, this was a partnership that we will take advantage of and continue as we look at opportunities like this to help our community.
It's recommended that people go through cupboards and drawers to clear out old medications every few months and drop them off to their local pharmacy for safe disposal.
Kylie Philcox is one of this province's most well-known influencers on TikTok, celebrating local culture. But believe it or not, even for her wood cutting and ice fishing abilities, she's not originally from Newfoundland and Labrador. NTV's Colleen Lewis has that story.
I'm a mainlander. I'll never understand why these cost more than some people's vehicles. I'm a mainlander. I'll never understand why salt beef tastes so good.
She's known on social media, especially TikTok, as simply Kylie. And boy, does she have a big following in this province. Kylie moved here from the west coast of Canada after she met a man from Central.
It's a funny story. I fell in love with a Bateman. That's exactly how that happened, and life changed very fast.
And from wood cutting to ice fishing to trying local delicacies, she appreciates the lifestyle here to the fullest.
It kind of spiraled out of control. I honestly don't even know how that happened. Maybe it was the right time, maybe it was luck, but I guess the right people saw me and it just kind of built into something I never thought it'd be. How many followers do you have? As of this morning, 18,700.
But like many social influencers, coming up with new content isn't always easy, and she isn't sure where her newfound fame will take her.
When I'm 90 years old, I want to look back at the things I've done with my life. I don't want to come to this province and not do anything. I want to do everything this province has to give me. Does that make sense? I feel like a man's woodpile says a lot about who he is.
So you've never seen these before. You know what? These are like awesome. I swear by them. I love the fact that they fit in your hand, right? Rather than a big rod with everything going on.
I think I fell in love with the cod jigging. That took my heart away, and it gave me just joy. That was number one. The trouting came along later, but that was number one in my books.
I can't believe my eyes. For NTV News, I'm Colleen Lewis in Grand Falls, Windsor.
Coming up on the NTV Evening News Hour, Memorial University will be hosting a Relay for Life right here at the Munn Fieldhouse tomorrow evening. Stay tuned for your community.
And stay with us while we take a break on the NTV Evening News Hour. When we come back on the Inside Story, we're going to hear more from Finance Minister Siobhan Coady about plans to merge Newfoundland Labrador housing into core government.
Sometimes you want to say, "You are amazing. I see you.
You're the best.
I'll miss you." More than a thank you. Merci.
Need help reducing the look of your dark spots? New Nivea Luminous 630 Dark Spot Solution. 10 years of research, one patented solution. Reduce the look of dark spots and try the world's #1 dark spot serum for luminous skin. 100% satisfaction or your money back.
We are transforming Newfoundland and Labrador. You see it in record high investments in critical areas like healthcare, housing, seniors, and poverty reduction. You see it in the new opportunities we are forging in both traditional and emerging industries, where our efforts are attracting global attention. In Budget 2024, we're building on that progress, delivering real results, real leadership, transforming our health, our economy, our province.
OMG. Government is rushing these wind farm projects through so fast, no one can notice. What's that about? We don't want another Muskrat Falls boondoggle. Visit protectnl.com and find out how you can help.
The next Lotto Max jackpot is an estimated $25 million. What are your dreams?
I've always wanted to start my own coffee company. Grown on the side of our own mountain.
With our faces on it. Get your Lotto Max tickets today.
Newfoundland and Labrador is an incubator for dreams.
There's endless opportunities. We're solving such exciting problems and selling it on a global stage.
Doesn't matter how old you are or what your background is.
Everyone belongs in tech.
Whether you're in business, software development, project management, marketing.
You have something to bring to the table.
Feels amazing to be part of the tech community.
Tech is making waves in Newfoundland and Labrador.
It's a general community. There's a lot of older people like myself and some people not so old. People have, they talk about sports and puzzles, go out in the yard, and we have a library here and movies, and we go out to lunch. The lunch is always different. That's a very good part of the situation as well. It's all inclusive and very friendly. I've learned a lot. Basically, I've met a lot of friends. It's a great place to go.
Take 2 pieces of our signature chicken and our fresh cut taters perfectly seasoned and add a crispy buffalo flavored chicken twist. It's chicken and taters with a twist. Just $8.99 for a limited time. Only at Mary Brown's Chicken.
It's no joke. On April Fool's Day, Justin Trudeau's hiking taxes again. Gas, heat, groceries, beer, all up. Pierre Poilievre and the Common Sense Conservatives will spike the hike and axe the tax. Sign the petition at spikethehike.ca.
We get a lot of people who contact us having tried to deal with the insurance companies themselves originally.
Before you accept any settlement that an insurance company offers, you should contact a personal injury lawyer.
Damages are paid for something that is lost. You've got to know what you're looking for, and you have to know how to recover those losses for your clients.
You will always, always have a better compensation package when you have professional help.
Welcome back to the NTV Evening News Hour. Tonight on the Inside Story, Budget 2024 included a plan to absorb the Newfoundland and Labrador Housing Corporation into core government. Finance Minister Siobhan Coady discussed the issue today in a taping of Issues and Answers. I wanted to ask you about, I guess, the big sort of reorganizational piece that happened with this, the Newfoundland and Labrador Housing Corporation being rolled into core government. You already did something similar with the English School District. But I'm curious, did you look, housing's been a big issue right across the country. Did you look at other provinces, other jurisdictions about whether they've done this with their housing corporations?
So what we've done with housing, as you know, we have a standalone minister responsible for housing. And I think that's it just shows how important housing is in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. It has its own minister. This will become part of his department. And I think it makes it seamless then across government, rather than having an entity outside of core government. And remember, housing works hand over hand with health, hand over hand with children, seniors, and social development is kind of what I'm going to call an integrated approach. So bringing them to within government, no layoffs, no anything happening, just having that integration, a full department for the new Minister of Housing, I think was a very solid move. And it'll take some time, it'll take 6 months or more, probably to bring everybody inside government to have that seamless process. But I don't think it'll be too disruptive to the people that who provide incredible services through Newfoundland and Labrador Housing.
And just as an example, a year ago, New Brunswick kind of went the other direction. They reestablished their housing corporation as a standalone corporation. So I guess why are we sort of going the opposite direction to that?
Because we wanted to have it more fluid, more integration. We've just have the standalone minister, so this will become part of his department. So for those reasons, that's why we made this move at this particular time.
Is there a risk, though, of housing kind of getting lost within the government?
Gosh, no. I think we're spending the most we've ever spent, $265 million this year, $265 million, plus with its own minister. I think you can see it not getting lost. I think much more attention being focused on it.
CUPE did raise concerns. That union represents the workers in the housing corporation, and their union leader said they only got 15 minutes notice basically before the budget that this was happening. Was there enough consultation on this, on how this was going to work?
Well, certainly when you're going to a budget, there is a, how can I say this, but there is a confidentiality factor. So as you know, being members of the media, there's a lockdown. Like you can't talk about the documents until 2 p.m. The fact that we were able to give them a heads up that this was in the document, the next 6 months, next 8 months, we'll be working hand over hand to make sure this is seamless. But again, no layoffs, no real impacts, coming to within government. They're a government agency at this point in time. It should be seamless, and we'll be working with the union from here on in.
And that full interview can be seen this Sunday on NTV's Issues and Answers at 12:30, noon in most of Labrador.
And there's a major development from the United Kingdom in the mystery around the health of Catherine, Princess of Wales. As CTV's Andrew Johnson tells us, Kate Middleton has announced a cancer diagnosis.
It has been an incredibly tough couple of months for our entire...
Just seconds into the first public message in months from Catherine, Princess of Wales, the details of a devastating diagnosis.
In January, I underwent major abdominal surgery in London, and at the time, it was thought that my condition was non-cancerous. The surgery was successful. However, tests after the operation found cancer had been present.
Those shocking words and months of worldwide speculation over the disappearance of the 42-year-old princess and her health.
This, of course, came as a huge shock. And William and I have been doing everything we can to process and manage this privately for the sake of our young family.
Kate Middleton does not reveal in the video what type of cancer doctors found, but confirms she is now in the early stages of a course of preventative chemotherapy, and a hint of why the family stayed silent for so long.
It has taken me time to recover from major surgery in order to start my treatment. But most importantly, it has taken us time to explain everything to George, Charlotte and Louis in a way that's appropriate for them and to reassure them that I'm going to be okay.
Catherine's cancer diagnosis is the third to rock the royal family in 2024. King Charles revealed he had cancer in early February, about 3 weeks after Kate's surgery. He has stepped away from his public duties during treatment. And Sarah Ferguson, Prince Andrew's ex-wife, has a serious form of skin cancer.
We hope that you'll understand that as a family, we now need some time, space and privacy while I complete my treatment.
On the day the public learns of the latest royal scare, the Princess of Wales closes her message by reaching out to others in the same shoes.
For everyone facing this disease, in whatever form, please do not lose faith or hope. You are not alone.
Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Vancouver.
Flair Airlines is reportedly cutting more than 600 flights in a cost-saving move as it faces multi-million-dollar financial challenges. According to aviation data company Cirium, the airline has eliminated flights from Toronto, Ottawa, Calgary, and Edmonton between March and May. Although Flair at the same time is adding flights to Florida, Mexico, Las Vegas, and other resort destinations. This comes around the same time that the Edmonton-based airline was under review by the transportation regulator over concern that an American shareholder exerted too much power. But the CTA said earlier this week that Flair, quote, addressed the concerns raised in its preliminary determination.
Tonight's weather brought to you by
Janes and Noseworthy. It's okay to get help with your debt. Start with free video advice from our team at janesnoseworthy.ca.
I want to take you back to our live NTV Skycam over Corner Brook, and earlier I said, by mistake, this was Maple Valley Road. It is not. That's Confederation Drive, and if you're wondering where our camera is in Corner Brook, I can show you. Here's Google Maps. Our camera essentially sits on top of the Comfort Inn, looking over Confederation Drive, so my mistake. I apologize, but Maple Valley Road is just right there. So I was a tad confused. I'm no longer confused, and for those of you that pointed that out, I appreciate it very much. Weather alert still in effect for areas of coastal Labrador and western Newfoundland. Coastal Labrador, we're looking at a blowing snow advisory for Nain and vicinity, and also a wind warning for Nain and vicinity, even though it's not plotted here on the map. Hopedale, Postal Makovic, under a winter storm warning. Winter storm conditions will begin to ease in these areas overnight, meaning less snow and less wind. For areas of western Newfoundland, we are looking at a winter storm warning from Corner Brook up through Gross Mourne and Parsons Pond, Hawke's Bay under a blowing snow advisory. The higher terrain within these areas will see substantial snowfall. The lower elevations on the Gulf and on the bays will likely not see as much snow, but we are certainly going to see some, and in some areas it's going to be shovelable. So how much between now and noon tomorrow? Well, notice all the bullseyes on the map. All the bullseyes are the higher terrain. So in the high terrain, we're looking at between 15 and 30 centimeters. So the hills south of Corner Brook, between Corner Brook and Port-au-Port Peninsula, going to see significant amounts. And as you get up into Gross Mourne National Park, northwest of Deer Lake, there are also going to be significant amounts. Route 430 in some areas will likely be very treacherous overnight into tomorrow morning. But as you can see, areas along the coast, between 5 and 10 centimeters up into Cowhead, 2 to 5 in Port au Choix, only a trace or 2 in St. Anthony. Deer Lake 1 to 2, Corner Brook 2 to 5, the higher elevations around the city. Areas like the Blow Me Down Cross Country Ski Club, and then the community of Massey Drive. We'll likely see more than 5 centimeters, probably 10 to 15 or so. And Stephenville, higher terrain around the community, will also see between 10 and 15, lower amounts in the lower elevations. And what we're watching is essentially an area of low pressure swirling in Labrador. Around it, we've got this intense southwesterly flow going right over an ice-free Gulf of St. Lawrence. So typically this time of year, we're not talking about such intense snow squalls, but because there's no ice, they are more intense for the time of year. And we'll see if this is more or less a yearly occurrence with less ice, or this is kind of an anomaly. I tend to think with a warming climate, it will be less of an anomaly. And as we look at the day tomorrow, area of low pressure pulls away. The snow winds down for coastal Labrador. The winds calm down across the island to a point, so we lose the ability to make that onshore snow. However, that's kind of short-lived. Notice by tomorrow evening, 8 p.m., we're already seeing snow working its way into the maritime provinces. That's from an area of low pressure that will drive substantial rainfall for areas of southern New England, heavy snowfall for northern parts of New England, Quebec, getting into parts of New Brunswick and parts of the maritime provinces. But as this works its way towards Newfoundland, it kind of takes a more westerly track, so we tap into some warmer air. So Sunday morning, while parts of Labrador are cold getting into the snow, parts of western Newfoundland kind of start cold, But watch what happens by midday. Big time warm up. And by midday Sunday, we're at 5 degrees and heavy rain for Corner Brook, 4 degrees in Gander, 1 in St. John's. I think that's a bit underdone by the computer, 4 in Port aux Basques. But overall, we're going to see a windy day Sunday and a rainy day for areas of western and southwestern Newfoundland. We may very well get some rainfall, some wind warnings for Sunday from Environment and Climate Change Canada, and potential for significant snows on Sunday for southeastern Labrador, even around the Straits, which has been an area that has not seen a whole lot of snow so far this winter. And by Sunday evening, that area of low pressure cruising through the Strait of Belle Isle, that moves offshore, and by early Monday morning, it's a thing of the past, and temperatures are in the process of cooling down as colder air returns across the island from Labrador. And notice by Monday morning in Labrador West, minus 26. So a cold start to next week as we almost go into the last week of March in Labrador West. On top of that, we're also going to see some pretty high wind speeds on Sunday. Peak gusts for areas of central northwestern Newfoundland between 90 and 110 kilometers per hour. I suspect we're going to be closer to 90 to 100 and not 110. But other areas breezy as well with the southerlies. Winds gusting 70 to 90 across most other areas of Newfoundland, including on the Avalon, with slightly lower wind speeds expected on the northern peninsula. And I'll have more updates for you for Sunday over the weekend on ntv.ca, so be sure to check that pretty frequently. Eastern Newfoundland tonight, -2 to -4 or 5 for the overnight lows, a few flurries. That's about it. For your day tomorrow, highs around 0 to 2 or 3, or even a tad below. Winds westerly gusting as high as 60, some scattered flurries, certainly a possibility. The onshore snow persisting across areas of western Newfoundland overnight, going to be intense at times, but that becomes less intense as the day progresses tomorrow, with more sunshine showing up in the afternoon. Dry and central, highs near 0. Harbour Breton, Bay d'Espère area, highs near -1 tomorrow. Same thing up into Conn River. Into Labrador overnight, -4 to -18, coldest in the west. And then for your day tomorrow, temps in the east near or above freezing, cooler north, and cooler yet in the west. Your 5-day forecast for eastern Newfoundland, looking at a few showers on Sunday. Potential for some freezing rain Monday. Looked a bit higher earlier. I'm going to leave it in the forecast for now, but looked higher earlier. Right now, I'm thinking Monday's like cloudy with freezing drizzle. And earlier, the forecast looked like there was a chance of freezing rain Tuesday and Wednesday, but that risk has gone down significantly from the data I've looked at today. Hopefully that trend continues. A few showers for central on Monday, but look at the high, 10 degrees, on Sunday, and then back to -3 on Monday. For western Newfoundland, snow goes to rain Sunday, 8 degrees for the high, but back to -3 on Monday. And for Labrador in the west, a pretty quiet 4 or 5 day forecast. In the east, flurries on Saturday, snow later Sunday, but a sunny Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
The Vancouver Canucks beat the struggling Montreal Canadiens 4-1 last night. Here are the highlights.
Ilya Mikheyev gets the puck behind the net, sends it to the point to Nikita Zadorov. He beats Sam Montembeault through traffic. 5th of the season for Zadorov, 1-0 Canucks. Under a minute to go in the period, Teddy Bluger, the elbow on Caden Gooley. No call on the play. Refs get together to chat about it. Still no call on the play. 30 seconds to go in the first. Mikheyev, Zadorov, second of the game. Just the second multi-goal game of his career. The Canucks are now up 2-0 on Montreal. We go to the second. The Canucks are now up 3-0. On the call, it's Brian Mudryk.
Suzuki, final minute, Rogers Arena. Second period, 3-0 Canucks. Caulfield waits, wrist shot, tip, score! Tipped in front, Uri Slafkovsky. Point streak alive.
They put off the goal horn in Vancouver for a Montreal goal. I know there are a lot of Montreal fans in the stands on the West Coast road trips, but probably shouldn't hit the goal horn. By the way, Uri Slafkovsky has 15 goals this season. Nice second season for the #1 overall pick. Third period, 3-1. Canucks. Tyler Myers off the draw, tipped in by Nils Oman. Canucks are 6-1-1 in their last 8. Their last 2 opponents have been held to 17 shots apiece.
Well, we're going to take a quick break here on the NTV Evening News Hour, but when we come back, Mary-Kate O'Neill will be here telling us a little bit about this year's Relay for Life. Do stay with us.
In the Ford Escape, there's no such thing as an aimless drive. You drive for a reason. To skip another awkward family party. Avoid back-to-back-to-back meetings. Ignore that call from your ex. That's why we named it the way we did.
We can't stop Tracy from being a loud typer, but we can help stop your business from losing energy and money. Get started with energy efficiency rebates.
When Doug and Andre came to TurboTax,
we navigated a turbulent housing market by
buying a motorhome. I made their move count. We've guaranteed 100% accurate taxes for new homeowners. Intuit TurboTax.
Academy Canada is so much more than a school. It is an experience. Discover every day. A dynamic atmosphere filled with people excited about a brighter future. Change your life. Academy Canada. Come, take your place.
What would you fight for? Your health? Your family? Your future? At O'Day Earl Injury Lawyers, we fight when you can't. For compensation for your injury, your pain and suffering, lost earnings, and more. Because when you're hurt, it's the only fight that matters. O'Day Earl fights for you. Call us today. Can you afford not to? O'Day Earl Injury Lawyers. Make it our fight.
We are transforming Newfoundland and Labrador. You see it in record high investments in critical areas like healthcare, housing, seniors, and poverty reduction. You see it in the new opportunities we are forging in both traditional and emerging industries, where our efforts are attracting global attention. In Budget 2024, we're building on that progress, delivering real results, real leadership, transforming our health, our economy, our province.
New Finish Ultramax, engineered for the ultimate clean in the toughest conditions. Dry, burnt-on stains. Old dishwashers. Very hard water. Even when you skip the rinse, its new Cycle Sync technology releases the right ingredient at the right time. And Finish Ultramax breaks down stains, cuts grease, and boosts shine for the ultimate clean, even in the toughest conditions.
What if the most interesting clothes in your closet aren't in your closet? They're out there on busy mornings, less busy afternoons, screen-free weekends, and everything from scooter rides and frisbee practice to backyard rivalries. Clothing and footwear that's made to be lived in. Marks.
Welcome back. Relay for Life takes place across the country every year to bring communities together and support people who are battling cancer. NTV's Mary Kate O'Neill is in your community.
Today we are here at the Munn Fieldhouse, and that is because we are going to be having a Relay for Life right here tomorrow evening. And joining me to tell us all about it is the co-chairs of the Relay for Life committee, Emma and Sophia. So folks, tell us about what's happening here tomorrow. For people who don't know, what is a Relay for Life?
So the Relay for Life event is a fundraiser for the Canadian Cancer Society. Events take place nationally at post-secondary institutions and high schools. So we're basically fundraising for the Canadian Cancer Society as well as just honoring and supporting all cancer survivors.
Amazing. And why is this something that Memorial University wanted to do? Like you said, many organizations, schools do it. So why did Memorial University want to take place this year?
Absolutely. So MUN has actually been doing Relay for Life for many years now. Last year was actually a really significant milestone in Memorial's journey with Relay for Life. Last year we raised $1 million out of all of the events that have ever taken place. So this year it's a really big goal. We're trying to hit $100,000. So it's just something that we've always taken part of and something that the Memorial community really values.
Absolutely. And when we talk about the funds at a milestone moment last year and trying to raise more money this year, how can people actually get involved? Of course, it's tomorrow night. Can people still join? If not, can they donate online maybe?
Yes, absolutely. So registration is still open, and you do not have to be a Memorial University student. It's welcome to all ages. Everyone's welcome to register. You just go online to the MUN Relay for Life page, and you can register as a participant or as a survivor if you would like to come as a cancer survivor representative. And if you just want to support our cause, you can donate through that page as well to our general MUN page.
Perfect. And for people who are actually coming here tomorrow night, what can they expect?
Absolutely. So there's lots of different activities, performances. We've got lots of singers, the St. Pat's dancers. There's also going to be lots of laps, a survivor lap, a luminary lap honoring those who may have passed from cancer or are still going through their journeys. We'll also have the theme laps. So we'll have lots of Y2K laps, lots of different fun things. So there's kind of something for everyone, and it's going to be a really great night.
Perfect. Well, thank you both so much. We're really looking forward to tomorrow night.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. And that's what's happening in your community. Now let's take a look at entertainment.
Tonight's entertainment wrap brought to you by NFLDHerald.com. The tradition of the Newfoundland Herald continues free online. Enjoy complimentary online archives, editions, and new items too.
The juice is loose.
He's back. The first teaser trailer is out for Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. Winona Ryder, Jenna Ortega, and Catherine O'Hara join Michael Keaton in the long-awaited sequel from Tim Burton. Beetlejuice Beetlejuice arrives to haunt theaters September 6th.
Voting's bourgeois politics. If all you're doing is outside yelling and screaming, that's all you're ever gonna be. A yeller and a screamer.
Christina Jackson co-stars in Shirley as future Congresswoman Barbara Lee, who got her start working with groundbreaking presidential candidate Shirley Chisholm.
I do believe that had she been allowed to debate, she would have gotten much further and she would have garnered much more support. But I think them knowing how capable she was contributed to not letting her get that far.
Shirley, starring Regina King, debuts today on Netflix. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
And stay with us while we take one more break on the NTV Evening News Hour. Eddie Shear will be back in a little while to recap the weather forecast. And when we return, Jim Furlong will have Today in History.
Introducing the new 2024 Ford F-150. Tough this smart can only be called F-150.
There are two kinds of people. Those who add nuggets to their Wendy's meal and those who wish they did. Get a 6-piece of crispy 100% all-white seasoned chicken nuggets for the fresh price of $3.49. Don't miss out.
Cadbury Dairy Milk. There's goodness in everyone.
Thank your skin for growing and supporting you. With Nivea Nourishing Body Milk and 5-in-1 Complete Care, filled with everything your skin needs to be nourished, beautiful, and healthy looking. Give your skin all it deserves. Nivea.
They say it lives way out there, deep in the city.
I heard it wanders the streets at night in search of food.
I hear it can carry 2 kayaks right on its back.
It made this big loud sound.
You know how nobody can find parking on game day?
it found a way.
The new Subaru Crosstrek, the true urban legend.
With DoorDash, dash that delicious whenever a craving hits. Dash that late night burger and that lunchtime lox. Dash that post-workout protein and that poke bowl. Taste of the Tropics is on now. Get 30% off orders of $20 or more. DoorDash.
Welcome back to the NTV Evening News Hour. Well, it's time now for Today in History. Tonight, Jim Furlong looks back at an important moment in hockey history.
"1935 was the date. They are the Boys of Winter. Their names a legend in Newfoundland from coast to coast in hockey circles. From Alex and George and Lindy Faulkner to Toy Gallant, Harry Katranuk and Teddy Gillies. This was their passion, in rinks from St. John's to Cornerbrook and all points in between. When did it all start? You'll want to know. The Newfoundland Amateur Hockey Association was formed in March of 1935. Actually, it was the 22nd of March. It was this date in history. This is Jim Furlong for NTV News.
In our MQO question of the week, we ask, was the police response at this week's fishery protests appropriate? To vote, call 1-855-279-7887 or go online at ntv.ca/QOW. We'll have the results on Monday.
Birthdays and anniversaries brought to you by the Healthcare Foundation. We are the foundation that takes action so we all can take care of each other.
A happy 60th wedding anniversary going out to Harry and Grace Welsh. A happy 50th wedding anniversary going out to Derek and Barb Skinner from St. Philip's. Happy 50th wedding anniversary also going out to Dave and Donna Hamlin, formerly from Twillingate, now residing in Ontario. A happy 65th wedding anniversary to Thomas and Beatrice Bolger, formerly of Lab City, now living in Nova Scotia. Happy 90th birthday to Rowena Sharp Love from all of your family and friends. Happy 92nd birthday to Muriel White of Deer Lake. Happy 90th birthday to Joseph Dunphy. A happy 50th wedding anniversary to Claude and Faye Lush. Happy 90th birthday going out to Catherine Rule from all of your family and friends in Lawn. Happy birthday to Alice Pine celebrating 90th birthday. Happy 100th birthday to Margaret Hayes of Brigus, now living in St. John's. Happy 54th wedding anniversary to Lauren and Stella Elliott of Twillingate. Happy 90th birthday greetings to Annabelle Ford of Port-aux-Basque. Happy 54th wedding anniversary to Hedley and Jane Party. Happy 56th wedding anniversary to Jim and Rita Pollard of Mount Pearl from your family and friends. A happy 62nd anniversary to Marion and Lemuel Jones. Happy 60th wedding anniversary to Phyllis and Ray Penny living in Sandy Point in central Newfoundland. Happy 56th wedding anniversary to Doug and Donna Barfoot of Clarenville. Happy 67 years of marriage to Andrew and Beryl Blackwood. Happy 64th wedding anniversary greetings going out to Roy and Phyllis Cuff from Bonavista. Happy belated 91st birthday going out to Dorothy Clark. A happy 90th birthday to Sarah Sims of Cornerbrook. Happy 91st birthday to William Gillingham residing at Lane's Retirement Home. And finally tonight, a happy 90th birthday to Daphne Pittman from all of your family and friends.
And one more peek at the 5-day forecast will show temperatures tomorrow across Newfoundland near 0 to about -2. The onshore snow we're seeing across areas of western Newfoundland will end late tonight or during the mid part of the day tomorrow in Labrador. The snow in the east will wind down late tonight or tomorrow as well, setting us up for a bit of a colder second half of the weekend and next week. Although southeast Labrador will see some snow Sunday, Newfoundland will see rain, but also downright mild temps with highs near Sunday near 10 and cooling down from Monday. Today's second photo contest photo comes to us from Maggie Brock, taken out in the waters near Dildo in the kayak. Maggie, thank you very much for that photo. Cool sky there. If you've got pictures like that, enter our contest, ntv.ca. You do that, you're in the grand prize draw for a 2024 Subaru Outback Wilderness Edition from Capital Subaru. All contest rules and regs found on ntv.ca, as well as your latest forecast. Beth and Mike, back to you.
Well, thanks so much, Eddie, and thank you to all of you at home for joining us for this Friday edition of the NTV Evening News Hour.
You can watch us anytime by downloading the NTV Plus app, available free for Apple and Android. And stay with us. Coming up next on Global National, the latest on Kate Middleton's cancer diagnosis.